What's going on, guys? My name is Jesse from Humble Crew Detailing, and today I'm going to show you guys how we do our exterior wash. Alright guys, so we're going to start the wash. We filled up our buckets. If you come over here, you can actually see in each of these buckets we have a grit guard on the very bottom. This is super important. So the 3-bucket wash method, we got a bucket for wash, rinse, wheels. These 2 buckets share products. This stays by itself. You never mix this thing with that and that with this. Just don't do it. The reason why is because you want the dirt from these things to stay in these buckets, and essentially we're trying to mitigate scratches or swirl marks in your paint. So the grit guard on the bottom is super important. After you take your wash mitt, you wash a panel, you take your wash mitt after it's dirty, you dunk it in the rinse bucket. You almost want to like do laundry. So you're scrubbing it on the bottom, kind of like this motion against the grit guard. You pull it back out, you dunk it back into your clean wash bucket that's full of soap, which actually probably do that now. So we're going to be using Yum Wash. Go ahead and just give yourself a couple spritz like that. It's actually a lot, but so you go like that. You mix it in there. You take your foam cannon, or your pressure washer, I should say, and you foam it up. So now this is your wash bucket. So when you're ready to wash your car, you take it out of here. You scrub a panel. When it's dirty, you take it into your rinse bucket. Go in there and you scrub it off just like that and do laundry. Pull it back out, back into your wash bucket. Let's continue to the next panel. So that's how you do the 3-bucket method. But you might be thinking, Jesse, that was only 2 buckets. What's this bucket do? This bucket right here is your wheel bucket. So I've got 3 different wheel brushes. They're obviously designed for different. So this is like your wheel well and this is like your lug nuts. This is in between. And then finally you have your tire scrubber. So this is used to scrub the tire after you spray a cleaner over your tire. You use this brush right here to do that. Now, these brushes never go in here, and this wash mitt never goes in here. And the reason why is the wheels are the dirtiest part of your car. And so you don't want the dirt from your wheels to go into your wash mitt and risk scratching your paint. And that's why 3-bucket method, super important. All right, guys, first steps, we're gonna rinse off the car. We're gonna try to get most of the grime off with just some water. Now you want to be super careful, especially depending on what kind of pressure washer you use. You never ever want to pressure wash close. Depending on your pressure washer, you may cut through your bumper or your paint. Don't do that. Also make sure if you're using like a foam gun, make sure your connections are all tight. The way I like to do this is you always want to aim away from the car, fire first, and if it looks good, you're good to go. If it's not good, this thing will go flying off, and just be happy it hit the floor and not your paint. So I learned that one the hard way. So here we are, we're gonna go and rinse off the car. You notice I'm not too close to the paint. I'm not up here shooting it. I'm about, I don't know, 2.5 feet away. Get the wheels, so the wheels are gonna get nice and clean. You can actually see, especially on the wheels, how much of that dirt came off already with just a rinse. Wait until we get the wheel cleaner on there. It's gonna be really clean. Maybe this is a better example. Check this out. Look at all that dirty water on the bottom. That's just from the rinse. Undercarriage cleaner. Man, I don't even have one of these in my shop. I'm too cheap. Man, I wanted this undercarriage cleaner. It was like 650 bucks. I was like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. But to be honest, I probably need one. All right, so. Oh, that's fancy. Whoa, look at all that grime coming out of there. Woo! Look at that grime coming out of there. You guys, I need one of these in my shop. Can you guys fit one of these in my swag bag? Oh, this is bougie. Yo, look at this thing, it's like a fountain. All right. So, you might have seen these foam cannons with a wand, and there's nothing wrong with using a wand. I know some people love them, just like that, but for me, I personally don't use the wand because if I'm standing at my normal distance, like this works just fine, but for me, I like let's say I wanted to clean the wheel well, you know, then I would have this attachment right here, and I can easily do that without risking like scratching the paint. I've unfortunately learned this the hard way too, where I had a wand on, I stood a little bit too close to the car, and you know, I dinged the paint, user error, you can blame me, that's fine. But now, I just use the gun by itself. All right guys, now it's time for the foam. You take your foam cannon with a quick disconnect here, make sure it clicks, click, and now we're ready to foam. Nah, it looks fine to me. How would you know? I mean, it's pink. Really? You want to find out? I mean, yeah. Sheesh. You guys are rich. Look at all these bottles, man. I only have 2 at my shop.
Swap out and just see if this one's spray thicker or not.
Oh, that is pretty thick. Well, of course, you got to do it nice for the camera. Okay. All right, guys. So we foamed the car. Now we're going to move to washing wheels. Now you might be thinking, Jesse, why don't you just wash the car? The foam's already on the car. You actually want this foam to sit as long as possible on the paint before you touch it. You want the soap to do its job breaking down grime before you even touch it. So while we wait for the foam to do its job, what are we going to do? We're going to clean your wheels and tires. So we're going to use some of this Yum Wash. We go to our wheel bucket here. Spray a good amount in there, and you just foam it up. So hold the nozzle about an inch away from the water and look away. All right, now we're gonna clean your wheels. So for the wheels and tires, you have Yum wheels like we talked about, but then they also have Yum Undress. Undress is a rubber and tire cleaner. This stuff cleans your rubbers and pulls deep grime out. This stuff dissolves brake dust like we talked about. So we're gonna spray both. Ooh, look at that thing bleeding purple. There you go. Now you're gonna spray some Undress. And you'll know it's a good tire cleaner because when you spray it on tires, look at this brown coming straight off. I mean, look at that. That's even before me even touching it. Look at that. Gross. So, I like to start with the tire brush. Give it a nice little scrub. Just like that. Make sure you're nice and thorough. Try not to touch the wheel well with the top of your brush. On lowered cars, it's tough, so don't lower your cars, kids. Don't do that. Okay. Now, we take your wheel woolly. You just get nice in there. Fortunately, these Mercedes wheels look pretty easy to clean. I've had wheels where they were not. If you're a BMW nerd, I'm referring to the BMW 666M wheels. They look really good when they're clean, but that's the problem, they're never clean. Fortunately, they're 666, number of the devil, so a fitting name. All right, so we got that. We got the tiny brush for the lug nuts. Here we go. And finally, you got the big one for the wheel walls. Get nice in there. And then look at all this grime being pulled out. I mean, look at all this purple. I mean, it's pretty gross. So now you see why you never ever want your wheel buckets and your paint buckets to mix, because all of this grime right here would be going into your paint. You don't want that. So, give it a good scrub. And then I usually like to just quickly hit the caliper as well. With a little bit of cleaning. The brake, or sorry, not the caliper, the rotor and the caliper. Now I'm doing the caliper. Maybe get the small one, get in there. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the other three. Okay, my back. That's why you hire somebody to do this. Nah. Unfortunately, the Viper chair is not low enough. I'm at the point now, all I do is quality check and train. I do more of the sales now, so fortunate. Yeah.
What would you rather do?
Sales. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's weird because this started out as a hobby for me. I love doing it, but I love talking to people more. And so I just happen, like I'm a sales guy, I just happen to clean cars. Fat wheel mitt is too fat to get in between the front brake discs. So that's where you got multiple sizes. So let's try the medium. That's perfect, there you go. That's why you got 3 sizes. Get in there, look at that. Normally, it's really hard to get between especially on sports cars, so let's try the mini-me size. Ooh, it's clean. Look at that, fits right in there. Let's go. All right, let's move on to the tire. Whew. On my average wash, I charge 150 bucks. I need to up these prices. Unless my employee is doing it, then I'll keep it a little cheaper. You want the master himself, I'm gonna have to charge a little more. All right, so let's go ahead and scrub the tire. Detailers in the industry will call this wheel cleaning. I call it hand cramping simulator. Rotate your hands. It's also why it's important to have really ergonomic brushes, because if they're not ergonomic, your hands really do cramp up right here. Especially if you're 3 wheels deep, it can be pretty tiring. So buy good brushes, buy them once, buy them right. Oh, look at all that grime coming out. Ooh, some nasty front wheels. Usually the front calipers are the dirtiest because front brakes do all the braking, especially on a sports car. So that's why you're getting so much of this brake dust and grime coming out. Look at that. Oh, it's a lot. Oh. Also, one tip that I like to do, I always start at the stem. That way I know when I've made my way around. So, a little small tip and trick. So once you've given your hands arthritis, now we have to move on to the paint. So you'll notice now most of the foam is kind of dragged itself off the paint. You want to give the car a good rinse. Oh, I need the pressure washer on. Yee! Let's put that one in the bloopers. All right, so now we're gonna give the car a good rinse. Really important, it doesn't need to be 100% clean. We're still gonna go and hand wash it so you don't have to get all the soap out. Yeah, this step is really important as well, the after foam rinse, because once that soap is broken down, whatever surface dirt there is, now we can go in and hand wash it. This allows for the least likelihood of us swirling or marring the paint when we wash, so super important. So let's go ahead and start with the hand wash now. So remember, we got 2 buckets, a wash bucket and a rinse bucket. Now when we hand wash, generally speaking, depending on the dirtiness of the car, you either have to take it panel by panel, or you can do maybe like 2 panels at a time or so. The dirtier the car, the less surface area you want to be working with. This car in particular happens to be pretty clean, so when we go in and hand wash it, we can kind of go at a much faster pace. When you're washing, it's super important that we wash top down. And the reason why is you want to mitigate any chance that dirt will be stuck in your mitt, and you don't want that dirt scratching across the paint. So obviously on a vehicle, the bottom parts of the vehicle are the dirtiest, and so that's why we go top down to wash. So on this vehicle in particular, we will start on the glass roof. When you're washing, you also don't want to use any pressure. So if you'll notice, I'm literally just gliding the mitt across the paint and the glass. I'm not using any pressure at all. I'm not doing any of that. I'm literally just gliding it across. Because, like I said, you want to let the chemicals do the work. You don't want to be scrubbing anything off. So that's one side, at the top. Let's go to the other side. So this side right here, this side is what I use to wash that side. I'm gonna flip it upside down to have a fresh side, and we're gonna do the same thing for the other side, just like that. This car here was previously ceramic coated, so if you, especially on the glass, like if you see how I'm washing it, you can see it's kind of rejecting the water. You see that? Ceramic coatings allow for extremely easy maintenance, and so when I'm washing a ceramic coated car, it might take me only 45 minutes as opposed to like an hour and a half. So now that our wash mitt has been used on those surfaces, let's go ahead and do the 2 bucket method. So we'll dunk it in the rinse bucket first, on the very bottom, scrub, just like that. I'm rotating my hand like that against the mitt on the bottom. I'm gonna swap to the other side as well and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, like that. Kind of wring it out. Now it's time to go back into the wash bucket, and we will continue across the car. Same thing, trying to go top down. So in this vehicle here, the next top surface would be this giant hood. Fun fact, underneath this hood is Mercedes-Benz famous twin turbo V8. Pushes lots of horsepower out, sounds really good. Not too many German manufacturers make twin turbo V8s anymore. And the ones from BMW blow up, so don't buy those. You can't say anything bad about me because I have an M2. So I like BMWs, I just don't like those. All right. So now that's done. And another really important thing too is gauging how dirty your pad is. Now conveniently, this is a white pad, so if there's any dirt in there, I'll see it. Now, this is a pretty clean pad, so that tells me I can probably keep going, right? Without going back to the 2 buckets. So now I'm gonna tackle this panel here. Now this panel is pretty dirty, so like that, see? This side's toast. Swap over to your clean side. I always wash panels twice. Why? Because I always miss. So let's see if that rings true right now. as I wash this panel twice with the clean side. Ah, I missed. See? Wash twice. So, back to your bucket. Notice all this dirt, okay? You do not want this touching your paint. So let's go ahead and go on the bottom. Scrub it against that grit guard. You're essentially just doing laundry. Scrub to the other side. Just like that. Okay. Now you can see most of that grime has come off. This is a white mitt, but that super dirty side, you can see a lot of that big dirt is now out of the mitt. You can still see some of the bigger, or the staining, but the dirt itself is out. So, back to your wash bucket. Let's move on to the next door. So I'm probably gonna do the mirror actually first. So the mirror, just like that. Like that, easy peasy. Come down, and when you get to these bottom areas, don't wipe twice, because usually the bottom areas, like I said, super dirty. Look at all that dirt. You do not want this touching your paint. So swap to your clean side. Like I said, do it twice. Okay, what everybody says, you will always miss if you only do it once. Yeah, look at that, dirty. So, like I said, on dirty panels, you always want to be constantly rinsing out your wash mitt. You know, especially if you're dealing with a car that's been like paint corrected and ceramic coated, why risk ruining your work? Just do the step right the first time. Okay, on to the next. You'll notice that I'm not going down here yet. And the reason why is I actually want to wash the top of this bumper first, all these painted surfaces, like that. And once these are all clean, then I will go on the bottom side and clean there, because that's probably going to be the dirtiest parts of this bumper, especially this exhaust tip. Go down here and get in there as well. Down here. Oh, yeah, look at that, dirty. So that's why you wash these under parts last. You never want to do this and then that. Don't do that. Yeah, it's always these side skirts down here, and the bottom is the dirtiest parts of the car. Okay. I will say this, if you do this frequently, make sure you stretch before and after. Don't mess up your back for a clean car, or you can pay someone like me to do it for you. Finally, home stretch. We're gonna do the front bumper. Now the front bumper can be pretty tricky, because sometimes there's a lot of bug guts on there, and if there are, which I will find out after this wash, then we gotta pull out the big guns. So let's find out. Now normally bug guts don't come out with just soap and water, even with a little bit of scrubbing. That's where that Yum citrus comes in. But we will find out right now if we even need to use it, if there's any bug guts that are too stubborn. The nice thing about ceramic coatings is that they're exceptionally resistant against bug guts in particular, and so they're designed to prevent things from sticking to it, including bug guts. Now, does that negate bug guts? No. But does it make it easy to clean? Yes. So this car in particular, is that a rock chip? Yeah, looks pretty clean to me. Okay, whew. That was a workout. So we just got done washing the car. If you notice a little bit of water dried off, you can just quickly wipe it again, but now it's time to rinse. Very important when you're rinsing, let's try to be as efficient as possible with this water. So the way I like to rinse is I rinse top down. Why? Because gravity moves that way. So obviously you don't want to be rinsing down here, then up here, and then the soap comes down here and you have to re-rinse it. So rinse top down. If you also notice, I got the cord over my shoulder like this too. Especially if I know I'm gonna be going up here, I don't want this cord dragging across the paint. So when you rinse, try to get in between these little nooks and crannies as well. It really gets that soap out so that when you go to dry, you're not blowing soap everywhere. It's looking mint. All right, guys, drying aid time. So like we talked about, you spray a liquid to dry the liquid off. Super weird. So you take your clean microfiber towel. That's definitely enough right there. So you want to take 2 towels. First one with the drying aid on it absorbs the bulk of the water. It's like that. And you can actually see even this one is soaking up most of it right now. I mean, it's, right? You take your secondary towel, your clean one, your dry one, and you wipe up the remaining residue. You don't want to be scrubbing too hard. You don't need to do that. You just kind of want to glide it across nice and easy. When you do that, you're going to be left with as few streaks as possible. Glass, you usually got to do it a couple times, but here, come here. Come and get this close up. Look at this paint. Bam. Dry. No streaks, right? Drying aids, guys. It's amazing. All right, now I can do it the lazy way. This is the lazy way to do it. Drying aid is really nice though because it actually, so if I do it this way, it actually doesn't leave any gloss versus with the drying aid, it leaves some gloss on your paint. Now this car is already ceramic coated, so that's why it still looks really shiny even without any toppers or anything. That's just what ceramic coatings do. They stay looking clean after just a basic wash. And that's the huge appeal to these products is the fact that, I mean, look, that's a wash. This looks waxed, right? That's a wash, but it looks waxed. So, all right. Yep. Dang, that's a good coating. Looks good. When you're drying, super important, when you're drying these lower areas, if your towel touches the floor, it's toast. Throw that towel away. Throw it in the laundry. Don't throw it away. But, so for these lower areas, I'm gonna try to dry more carefully so that my towel does not touch the floor. Nice and easy. Also super important, even though I washed it, you never know. There might be stray dirt under there that you miss, right? So if you take your drying towel and dry these lower areas, try not to use that side again. It's just one of those things where you want to mitigate any chance that you miss. So, right here. Okay, so I use that side. I'm going to use this side here to dry the bumper. Let's get these areas here. Okay. Bam. Whew. Done. So now the car is dry, the car is pretty. Let's top it off with something so that it stays even prettier. So ceramic coatings, you don't have to top it off. I like topping off all of my ceramic coated vehicles. So the topper of choice for the day is, if I can find it. Oh, here we go. Yum Ceramic. So much like the drying aid, this stuff applies very similar, but with these types of products, less, especially for this product in particular, less is more. So we're gonna take 2 towels. There we go. The first towel applies onto the paint. So you wanna hold your towel about this far away, and you gotta make sure your thing is on. So, come on, baby. That's it. Don't use any more than that. With professional grade products, less is more. You don't want to be applying on a thick layer of this stuff because you're going to be fighting streaks, and you don't want that. So as I apply this product on, that one spray is probably good for about 1.5 panels. So I think I'm going to do this entire pillar and maybe even the roof, the glass roof here. And if you come in close, come over here. As I wipe, you can see it's leaving a residue behind, ever so slight. It's a very, very faint residue. But because I didn't apply so much, this residue isn't that thick, right? So you apply it on just like that. And you take your secondary towel. Actually, crap, this is the one I used to dry. It's wet. Take your secondary towel, and you wipe off any remaining residue. That way you can have a streak-free finish, just like that. Bam, done. And that is how you apply a topper. You can do toppers on top of just naked paint. You can do it on ceramic coatings. Either way works fine. So Yum Ceramic goes on really, really easy. It comes off really easy. There's no drama with it if you're using it correctly. So again, remember, less is more. So we're gonna go ahead and continue for through the rest of the vehicle. So let's go ahead and grab some more of this stuff. Also, the side that you spray the stuff on, as you keep going through the car, this side in particular is gonna get really saturated. You'll find that you really don't need to you don't have to keep reapplying this stuff. You can just keep going because like this side of it is gonna be really saturated with the product. So like that, I like to wave it like that to get the mist. Try not to waste any of the product. And we just go ahead and continue. Much like when we were washing the car, I do a very similar motion. Back and forth, back and forth. And then I like to do a crosshatch to make sure I get even coverage. Just like that. There you go. Whoa, slipped. Do the stanky leg. And I like to get in here and get the door jamb. Now you'll notice too that even though I didn't apply the second towel, there really isn't any residue. It's because I didn't spray too much product onto my towel. But just for safe measure, I'm gonna second towel it anyway. And normally it's a feel thing. Like when you're gliding this across the paint, if you didn't apply too much product, this should come off just like butter. So right now, I wish you guys could feel this paint, but it's silky, silky smooth. Versus if I lay it on too thick, this is gonna be really grabby, like, you know, it's wet. But right now it's like silky smooth. Bam, done. So now the towel is becoming pretty saturated because I've sprayed this a couple times now. So I can probably do like this entire half of the hood. Now, the AMG GTS hood is like really long. It's like the Batmobile or something. And so there's a lot of surface area here to cover, but you can see it's going on just fine. Now you might be wondering, Jesse, how much product is too little or too much? And it's a feel thing. Like when you run this across and you feel like there's no liquid, then it's time to spray some more on. But right now, because of how saturated this towel is, I can tell there's still some in here. So there's that. Take the secondary towel, just give it a nice little wipe. It's coming off really easy because, like I said, I didn't lay it on too thick. There you go. Bam, done, easy peasy. Really important as well, when you're spraying product, never spray towards the car. Always spray away from the car. You don't want any overspray getting onto the paint, no matter what product it is. So it's one of those things you pick up over a couple of years doing this. Okay. Oh, get some of that. Whew. So that's how you clean a car. So we washed it. We cleaned the wheels, we cleaned the tires, we foamed it up. This car's already been ceramic coated, so a lot of the other things like clay bar and whatnot not needed on a vehicle like this, where it's already very clean. You can also always check too by running your hand across the paint. If it's smooth, then you know it doesn't need a clay bar. You shouldn't resort to a clay bar every wash. Matter of fact, that's pretty bad, so don't do that. This car in particular, you can see after just a basic wash, after we washed it, we applied that topper. Cleans up really good, and look at the end result. Looks super great. Very, very glossy. We can tell that ceramic coating is working really good, giving it great gloss and making it super easy for me to clean it.